The UK roller coaster industry is fantastic in 2024. We're opening some fantastic new rides and roller coasters across multiple theme parks throughout the UK, with the two highlights obviously being the NEMESIS RETRACK at Alton Towers and Project Exodus, the Mack Rides hypercoaster coming to Thorpe Park in 2024. However, which one of these rides will be better? Which will be more impactful for the park? And which one will be more iconic for the UK theme park industry as a whole? 2024 is being dubbed the year of the UK roller coaster round 2 after 1994, where we see Nemesis, Shockwave and the big one open. This is going to be a fantastic year for rides and roller coasters and theme parks here in the UK, and I personally cannot wait. However, that has left many of us questioning which will be better, Nemesis or Project Exodus, and in today's video we will be discussing exactly that. Welcome to Coasternaut, and if you enjoy this video, please do give it a like and subscribe for future updates and news on UK rides, roller coasters and theme parks. Thank you very much for watching. Now then, Nemesis at Alton Towers is one of the first B&M inverted coasters that opened anywhere in the world. This of course opened in 1994 as part of the UK Year of the Roller Coaster. This is a fan favourite ride. I've never met someone that doesn't really rate Nemesis. It is one of the most popular rides anywhere in the world. It's such an iconic, so intense, one of the most iconic inverted coasters anywhere in the world. Obviously built by Bolliger and Mabillard, B&M as it's more oftenly known. There's 2,349 feet of track, a height of 42 feet. However, obviously it's such a unique coaster, as I've said many times before. It is built down into terrain. They actually built trenches, I should say, for this coaster using dynamite. They blew a hole into the ground. Obviously Alton Towers can't build above the tree line. They have some really unique restrictions which forces them to think outside of the box and create some sort of coasters which we wouldn't really expect to see at any other park in the world. Nemesis is such an iconic coaster. There's no coaster really like it anywhere in the world other than potentially Black Mamba at Phantasialand. A drop of 104 feet, like I said, even though the height is 42 feet, the actual biggest drop is 104 feet, top speed of 50 miles an hour, 4 inversions, and with a G-force of 3.5. It's such an intense coaster. When you think of the downwards helix after that first inversion, the corkscrew, one of the most intense moments on any coaster we have in the world, not just here in the UK. It's really intense. You feel all the blood rush to your feet in that inverted position when you go around that corner. And it is just such an amazing coaster. The zero G roll that follows that, and then the Outer Banks hill and the vertical loop is really good. And then obviously you've got the final corkscrew as well. It's a really good mix here of some fantastic inversions, really good speed, with such a unique layout. And at the time it had a very good theme. The station, the actual Nemesis creature was really good. There was waterfalls which were covered with sort of red food dye, I believe it was, or maybe not food dye, but just a red dye was used in the water to make it look like blood waterfalls around the ride. These unfortunately had to be removed due to environmental concerns over the years. However, obviously in the 2024 season we are seeing a full retrack of Nemesis. We saw the Incredible Hulk Islands of Adventure over in Orlando, Florida, get a retrack a few years ago, and we're starting to see now, obviously B&M is one of the newer manufacturers and they have very long service lives, but we are starting to see some of these original B&M coasters come to the end of their life cycles, and it is very good that Alton Towers recognise how fan favourite this coaster is. Enthusiasts love this ride, and rather than just thinking, okay, it's come to the end of its life cycle now, let's remove it, they have acknowledged how popular this is amongst park fans and guests and have decided to go with the full retrack, and I think that's absolutely fantastic. But they aren't just retracking it, they're adding extra supports. This is a very intense ride. They want to prolong this ride for another 30 plus years, make this enjoyed by guests for years and decades to come. So they're putting in the extra work by adding extra supports to make sure this lasts longer. They're going with a completely new colour scheme as well, very different to the white rusted colour scheme we've seen before. There's now very, very striking black with the red vein down the side of it. A very iconic colour scheme for a very iconic coaster. We've never seen any other coaster that has a colour scheme like this before, with a painted design down the side of the actual trunk of the coaster track. And I think this is going to be absolutely fantastic for the park. It's not necessarily a new coaster, but this is fantastic to see that the park recognises how iconic this coaster is, not just for Alton Towers, but for the UK theme park industry as a whole. And to see them prolong this for years to come is absolutely fantastic. This might not have necessarily the impact of something like Exodus, which we'll get onto in just a second. But in terms of, you know, being an iconic coaster for the UK theme park industry, being a fan favourite ride, it's fantastic to see that the park is choosing to prolong this ride for decades to come. As guests, you know, there's never going to be anything to complain about with Nemesis. It is a fantastic coaster. And, you know, not just fantastic for the park, but it is a truly world-class coaster, one of the best inverted coasters out there. And hopefully alongside the coaster, we're going to see a whole new retheme of the Forbidden Valley area at Alton Towers. So this is going to be really impactful for the park. I think, you know, this isn't just a retheme of the coaster. I think they're going to put a lot of love and care and TLC into the overall area. You're going to see, obviously, a new station. I think they're going to be adding in some new theming elements around the area. We've seen the reopening of the Nemesis Subterra indoor dark ride next to it in Forbidden Valley, so I think they're going to put a lot of love and care and attention into that area of the park. Potentially some new stores, new food outlets potentially as well, new merchandise. I would love to see all of that, and I think once again maybe not impactful in terms of adding a new coaster in, which I'm about to get onto now, but for the UK theme park industry as a whole, this Nemesis Retrack will be fantastic. Now obviously getting on to Project Exodus at Thorpe Park, this is going to be a Mack Rides hypercoaster. This is going to be the new, tallest, fastest coaster here in the UK, and it is obviously, like I say, it's been revealed to be built by Mack Rides. Now, we haven't actually got any vertical construction of this coaster yet. It's not as far along the timeline as Nemesis is. You know, we've at the time of recording here in early September 2023. Nemesis has pretty much finished construction. There's one or two pieces of track left to go in at the top of the lift hill, but other than that, the actual construction of the coaster itself is nearly done, and then it's obviously for Alton Towers to get onto retheming of the area, etc. However, we aren't actually able to see any vertical construction of Exodus just yet, but we have had you know, many numerous videos online now, both official from the park, but also, you know, fan creations and things like Planet Coaster and No Limits 2. Of what this ride will be. And when you look at the layout, this is going to be one of the most, again, unique layouts on any coaster in the world. You know, for ages we've been saying Thorpe Park needed a hypercoaster, but most people were thinking maybe a B&M hypercoaster, you know, the traditional out and back airtime filled layout, you know, potentially ground up RMC, although that was maybe a bit of a pipe dream. But then when this coaster was announced, I think, you know, it was very unexpected, the layout that we got. You know, it's not going to be a traditional hypercoaster layout in the sense that it's out and back, or even, you know, not comparing it to the B&M hypers that we've seen. The Mack hypers that we've seen before, so something like DC Rivals in Australia or Hypercoaster over in Turkey, these have you know, more traditional out and back airtime filled layouts, and this is something very different to that. The first drop, the twisted beyond vertical first drop, especially in the back row, I can't even imagine the airtime you're going to get in that. The outer banked hill that leads into the roll, that looks as if it's going to absolutely throw you out of your seat, and then whilst you swerve into that roll, might be one of the most intense inversions anywhere in the world because you're so high off the ground. All of this in these Mack hypercoaster trains with the very freeing lap bars. This is going to be the standout top 10 worthy elite coaster that the UK has craved for so long. You know, we have fantastic coasters like Icon, like Nemesis, but these aren't truly elite world-class coasters that the majority of people would classify in their top 10 coaster rankings across the world. We have fantastic coasters, but when you ask enthusiasts, the UK coasters are good, but they're not amazing. Project Exodus will factually change that. This looks to have some of the most strong, intense airtime in the world. Those inversions, like I say, look as if they're going to be super intense and absolutely crazy. Splashdown elements. You know, towards the end of the ride, there's going to be a nice ejector hill into the brake run. Don't get me wrong, this is a very short ride, but when you look at the skyline of Thorpe, this will change it forever. And I think this is going to live on at Thorpe forever. 236 feet. We don't have an official top speed yet, but I expect it to be sort of 80, 90 miles per hour sort of area. And this is going to be breaking records in the UK that have been held for 30 years. The big one was opened in 1994 in Blackpool Pleasure Beach as the tallest, fastest, steepest roller coaster in the world. And Thorpe Park with Project Exodus is going to be breaking that. This is going to be the new tallest coaster here in the UK. And for as much as I love Nemesis, I've said it for a long time now, that since this project has been announced, I think this will be the best new coaster here in the UK when it opens. My favourite coaster in the UK at the minute is currently Icon. I think this will overtake that. I think this will be the best coaster here in the UK once it opens, and will truly put Thorpe Park on the map with a truly elite coaster. You know, I think enthusiasts from around the world will travel to come and ride Project Exodus, one of the most unique coasters anywhere in the world. You know, to come and ride a coaster like this, there won't really be anything else in the world at any other theme park. You'll have to come to Thorpe Park to ride Project Exodus in order to ride something similar to this, because there's nothing else out there anywhere like it. absolutely fantastic. For as good as Nemesis is, I'm so happy they're retracking it. You know, it's going to make it a fantastic colour scheme around for decades and decades to come, hopefully, and it will revitalise the Forbidden Valley area of Alton Towers. I think, you know, in terms of being a fan favourite coaster, cannot wait. As an enthusiast, I love the history of the ride. I love the fact that we're getting it around. But in terms of what will be the better coaster and will be better for the UK theme park industry as a whole, I think personally it will be Project Exodus. I'm so happy that this ride is opening, and I think it truly gives the UK an elite top 10 worthy coaster that, you know, we've been craving for so long. I can't wait to experience the ride. Some of the elements look absolutely insane. I think it's going to be absolutely amazing. But what are your thoughts? Do you think Project Exodus will be better, or do you think Nemesis will be better? Will Nemesis still be the better coaster for you when it opens compared to Project Exodus, or, you know, do you think Project Exodus will become the new UK best coaster? Please do let me know down below. If you enjoyed today's video, please do give it a like. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Subscribe for more.